Hey, this is EZ for my latest sponsor, ExpressVPN. You know, Netflix has different content available to users depending on where they're located. Netflix has thousands of shows, but you can only get access to a fraction of that because of where you are. If you're utilizing Netflix without using ExpressVPN, it's like paying for a gym membership, but only being able to use the treadmill. So, how does this work? ExpressVPN lets you change your online location so you can control where you want Netflix to think you're located. They have almost 100 different server locations, so you can gain access to thousands of new shows. I'm talking like Star Trek, the original series on UK Netflix, Brooklyn Nine-Nine on Canadian Netflix, Rick and Morty on French Netflix, Fresh Prince of Bel-Air on Indian Netflix, the Harry Potter movie series on Australian Netflix. The list goes on and on. In the EZ household, we utilize ExpressVPN, and we've unlocked so much content that my family and myself can enjoy. But then you might be like, Eric, we can use other VPNs. No. Listen, blazing fast speeds, stream in HD with zero buffering, compatible with all of your devices, phones, laptops, media consoles, smart TVs, and more, and it encrypts your data. ExpressVPN has the added benefit of encrypting your data so you can browse the web securely. Look, be smart. Stop paying full price for streaming services and only getting access to a fraction of their content. Get your money's worth at expressvpn.com/Zane. Don't forget to use my link at expressvpn.com/Zane to get an extra 3 months of ExpressVPN for free. Testing the microphone. Testing the microphone. Hello, my friends. Welcome in to the Eric Zane Show podcast, a daily show where I discuss news, nonsense, and my personal adventures. I know who the Kent Trails bike asshole is. The answer came to me. The guy who was riding his bicycle on the Kent Trails, which, by the way, if anyone who's riding a bike on Kent Trails and is like an accomplished cyclist or someone who really gets into the gears and does like lung burning intervals and like sustained pulls for extended time in order to let's really throw it into zone 5 on Kent Trails. You know, you got to understand. Kent Trails is an outstanding jewel of the area, surrounded by fantastic places for people to live where they can enjoy the trail and, you know, take a walk with the pooch, maybe the kids on their little scooter, moms and dads. It's not that cool to be like crushing the gears big time on a bike ride. Most people who know anything about bike training know this. They stay off of the Kent Trails because it's so populated. I know when that was part of my life, biking everywhere, you avoid those because you want to go where there's the least chance that you would hit a pedestrian. Only a fucking idiot would bring his bike out onto Kent Trails and like be all wound up when, you know, a 3-year-old little buddy is enjoying the trail. So Kent Trails bike asshole a week and 1 day ago was pedaling along and he encountered a 3-year-old little buddy. Now, the pragmatic thing to do would be slow down remarkably and very carefully meander your way through the obstacles. Kids, dads, moms, strollers. I don't think there's anything in the Biker's Handbook of Etiquette that says that says refer to the 3-year-old as the F word. Tell him to get the fuck out of the way. Because that's what this little dick, or that's what this big dick asshole did to the kid. The kid's like, wait, what? At this point, when you're 3, about the only thing that is traumatic that you've experienced is, maybe you had to go to bed. Perhaps was a little cranky and had to get a timeout. Maybe couldn't stay up late and watch TV. I don't think Chris adds when the Bluey episode ends. Thank you. Bluey is, I'm sure big with this little fella. That would make me upset. I don't think he was counting on getting his bell rung when this fucking asshole bashes his dad in the head and his dad's head hits his. Because that happened. And you might be like, easy, it's a new week. What are you doing rehashing this? Well, because the shit ain't over, man. I'll tell you, that's why. And that really pissed me and a lot of people off. This son of a bitch is still public enemy number 1. And in my heart of hearts, my fingers crossed that just when this cocksucker is like, oh, good, whew, weekend pass is starting to blow over, if it really gets even more intense, I had to publicly go on Facebook and tell the audience, look, some people have suggested that they know the identity of Kent Trail's bike asshole. And they threw out a random name and of a guy who owns a particular business that is a bakery. That is not accurate. I saw that day one. Someone, for some reason, threw that out there. And that's the problem with the big, bad internet machine, vigilante justice. Sometimes people recklessly throw names out there. That happened. That's what happened here. And then this poor son of a bitch, I don't even know who. I just know that it happened. Is having to deal with various reckless attacks and phone calls and bad Google reviews, all that shit. You can't do that. You got to lay low. You got to wait. You know? So I posted on there. I go, look, you're getting it all wrong. Please share this. My post was seen by thousands of people and it was shared 6 times. How does that happen? I found that to be fairly important. I start with, please share. This guy is getting harassed. He had nothing to do with the Kent Trails bike asshole. Please share to help, spread the word. Oh, yeah, here's 6 shares. Thanks. I hope it was entertaining. You know when I write that? Please share. I don't write it on every post. I wish you would. Everything that I post, but I can't. I don't like doing that. I only write please share when it's of the utmost importance, and I felt that was. Some random dude's getting attacked because this cocksucker, somebody confused him for someone else, the Kent Trails bike asshole. Shortly thereafter, after I made that post on Saturday, because somebody reached out to me on Saturday. I was mowing the lawn and said, look, we don't feel good about this. So I actually stopped what I was doing, busted it out right there and posted it. Shortly thereafter, I found out the identity of the Kent Trails bike asshole. After I was tipped off by an unidentified source, I then cross-referenced and determined that is 100% accurate. I know who he is. I know who his wife is. I know that his wife has 2 mutual friends of mine. I reached out to the mutual friends and I said, hey, Kent Trails bike asshole is married to your Facebook friend. What do you know? Corey says Zaniac confirmed. No, the Zaniacs don't ride bikes. Their hearts would explode. So I found out that wife of Kent Trail's bike asshole is a sweetheart. I have more than one person saying, oh, salt of the earth, cute as a button, sweet as can be. And I actually said, I go, that's what I looked at the picture of the wife of the Kent Trail's bike asshole, and I go, she looks sweet. She's got like the cutest damn smile. And I'm like, what the fuck is she doing with this piece of shit? This lady and the Kent Trail's bike asshole have 4 kids together. In my discussions with my unidentified source over the weekend, I said, you know that she is mortified. The wife of Kent Trail's bike asshole. And let's hope that this is the last straw moment, because you know this fucking asshole has treated her like shit for a long, long time. And probably the 4 kids, too. You're like easy, give his name. I cannot just blast it out to the world. Excuse me. Here's why. You can't just go, it's slander. Now, if the cops decide that the Kent Trail's bike asshole is to be charged, well, I guess the local prosecutor, it's up to that person to determine that. I don't know what the fuck is taking so long. Get to it, man. You got to figure this shit out. Then, and only then, can that name be shared. Let me just tell you this. Kent Trail's bike asshole is very successful in his field. And I know the company that he works for. It's big. It's publicly traded. And this guy's good at his job. And I'm guessing that this big company pays him a pretty penny for it. And I'm also guessing that big company has an HR department that would be really, really confused and flabbergasted that the Kent Trail's bike asshole did this. Now, let me ask you this. Here we are a week and a day removed from this incident. Everybody was furious, and I don't know, you're probably still furious about this. Do you think that it is acceptable for, let's just throw a fantasy scenario here. It would be acceptable if Kent Trail's asshole lost his job, his livelihood over this. Let's just say whoever he works for said, hey, all right, yeah, you're associated with us. Go fuck yourself. You're out of here. Kent Trail's bike asshole. I want to see comments. Rebecca says yes. You would not feel bad about that. You got to understand, his lovely wife would be impacted. His kids would be impacted. Is that an appropriate punishment for the Kent Trail's bike asshole? Rebecca says yes. Patrick says yes. Rebecca says if he didn't hit the guy, then I would say no. Corey writes, normally yes. Maybe he was just having a stressful mental moment and snapped. Okay, now I don't ever accept that. I never accept that type of caveat. Not yes or no with exceptions. You know what I mean? I don't buy that. You have to know how to control yourself. I'm not saying for sure that Kent Trails Bike Asshole should lose his job yet. I'm throwing it out there to you so you can do some of the heavy lifting for me. Corey adds, granted, I don't know all the details. First time I'm hearing about this story. Well, yeah, we had it all last week. You must have been in rehab or something. I don't know. We talked about it extensively. Kenny adds, seems kind of weird if the employer would do that and the cops do nothing, though. Yeah, we don't know yet. That's why I said fantasy scenario. I'm trying to get you to not blend the real world with the fantasy. Jeremy says, I don't think he should lose his job over the video. But if he's charged with assault for hitting the dad before the video, then free market solution for him. Joe Pellerito writes, well, just being present was enough for Billy Bush to lose his job. Chris says, I think if it doesn't impact the legal stuff they're looking into, I think the free market should find a solution for him. Well, yeah, I think that the free market solution, if this is what I think will happen, I think that if he is not charged, okay, then this company is going to find out about it. What I mean by that is someone's going to anonymously tip off the company with all of this background, and they may or may not act. It all depends on how much blowback they get from the community. That's you're right. That is a free market solution. So now, yeah, I'm still pretty pissed off on behalf of this family about this. But I think the edge is off for me because research has told me that this asshole has a lovely wife and 4 kids. So I don't know if you can. Taking away a person's livelihood is pretty bad. Pretty bad. I think last week I would have said, yeah, get him out, fire him, hang him, drawn and quartered. I don't know. I think it depends on how the prosecutor acts. If the prosecutor does charge the guy, then I think, perhaps an apology tour. There's a couple more details that I wanted to get to about this. Let's see. This person encourages me, if you want to blast his name, you can. I don't know if that's a good idea. I don't think name blasting is smart for me, and because I think it kind of gets in the way. You know how cops always are like, don't say shit. We're doing our job. Yeah, I don't want to get in the way of that shit. Okay? Some guy popping off with the name is I think that right now that is a not so pragmatic approach. I just wanted to stress, bakery owner has nothing to do with this. Corey says all blasting is acceptable. Finger and name. Amy says he should not get a pass just because he has a wife and kids. Oh, I agree with you. But I think when it comes to the punishment thing, I want the cops to run out this ground ball and then to determine what's up. And they better fucking get on it. Okay? Nothing drives me more crazy when they just say, yeah, we're investigating. Yeah, you should be done investigating. You should have been done investigating like Tuesday. Okay? My source writes he turned himself in once the heat went out. The cops had been trying to call him after tips were obtained on his name. He avoided them for 24 hours, and then Kent Trails bike asshole turned himself in. I talked with my source about the fact that rando person on the internet who was fired up about this actually went over to the area where this all went down, but not on the trail, on the roads. Drove around, and if this person saw anyone biking, would shoot video. And rando actually shot video of the Kent Trails bike asshole and posted it. And the fuck was not wearing his yellow hat and yellow biking cleats or shoes. Not cleats. I guess you could say cleats. There's a cleat on the bike shoe. All right. I really don't want to say anything more because I don't want to put my source in jeopardy. But this is a new person I started communicating with over the weekend who's very, very close to all of this. And I'm just waiting. I'm not comfortable doing any blasting. No finger or name blasting on this show right now. This is a no fingers / name blasting zone. Chris says, I think you're right, Zane. If he doesn't get charged with something, someone will tip his boss off. Yeah, I can't imagine who would do that. Could be anybody. I mean, it would really be something if, like, everyone in the sound of one person's voice tipped off the boss. Corey says, if you say allegedly, you can say whatever you want about anyone. This is legal advice. Yeah, I don't know if you're right or you're wrong, but I know this. I can't take the anxiety after I do name blasting and then the anxiety that accompanies my name blasting. I know this, since the TV station, Wood TV8 is all over it, they are going to be watching for any type of, I think if you were to, you could probably get an arrest. I mean, if he was arrested after he turned himself in. I don't see why they can't publicize that. This was a big story for them. All right. Over the weekend, I woke up Saturday morning to this. This is weird. I'd like to think that right about now, I am so far removed from any type of battles with the folks on the Free Beer and Hot Wings Show subreddit that it seems almost pointless for anybody to... Nobody cares about your old pal EZ on there. And if they do, they don't dare talk about it because, you know, it'll get deleted. It's not my thread, you know? It seems like whenever they do talk about me, so many people weigh in. It seems to be a very active thread. This one, not so much, though. But it was like, wait, huh? Who is so pissed off that they want to take a run at my father? It's about me, but it's also taking a run at my elderly father and stepmother. I was like, huh? And someone posted on their subreddit. Now, I don't know. This might be a former Zaniac who's butthurt about something, pissed off that their teeth are still falling out. I don't know. That there isn't a scale that can measure them anymore. Who knows? Or perhaps it is someone who's pissed off about all of my shows, like who are these Stephen Kyles? Who are these free beers? You know. Which, by the way, that episode, who are these Stephen Kyles? My God. Holy shit. You've got to check it out. This person wrote a Dear Meathead question on their subreddit. Okay. As if I was writing it. By the way, I have a staff meeting at 11 a.m. for Q100. So I wake up and I go, what the fuck is this? At first I thought it was on my subreddit. And I go, holy shit, this isn't on mine. This is on the Twins subreddit. Dear Meathead, I was recording my podcast the other day in my basement bathroom. Best acoustics. I have this terrible segment that I force down the listeners' throats where I call my senile father and exploit him on air, asking him dumb questions, mostly about insulting my 4 listeners. Well, that part's true. I'm kidding. Gee, that sounds like free beer. And what they are saying in the chat. Most of the time he is confused, and some mouthy broad in the background can be heard spoon-feeding him answers, which he just repeats. My question is this. Is it a sin to use your family for financial gain? Even if it's only appealing, and then the person writes, to several people. If not, I have a great bit planned where I talk about a job I worked at 10 years ago that moved on without me and is more successful than ever. Please be easy with your responses as I talk a big game, but I'm hanging on by a thread. So like, what the fuck? Now, I can't respond to that. I'm banned from the page. They won't. There was a point when the guy who runs this subreddit said, all right, no more discussions of EZ. EZ is banned, and you are not allowed to talk about him. But they do. So I'm banned, and then people still talk shit about me, but I can't defend myself. Okay, that's great. Thanks. But it looks like nobody really kind of bought into it. In fact, I don't see anybody except for one person who even said anything negative about me. Everybody was like, you're a real piece of garbage. You're talking about a elderly old man with dementia. I don't get it. I mean, whatever. I mean, I make fun of the biggest, baddest things. I take shots at the sacred cows. So if anybody takes a shot at me, whatever. That's okay. I'm not even going to say, look, you can make fun of me, but you can't make fun of my dad. I didn't give a shit. If you want to look like an idiot, go ahead and make fun of my dad. I don't give a shit. I mean, it doesn't mean anything. The sole intent of that was just to upset me, but it's like, you do realize that out of anyone that you know or hear of, I have the thickest skin. I can handle anything. So that doesn't really bother me in any way. None of that bothers me. I was quite tickled, in fact, by the response. Thank you to many people who weighed in. This person wrote, you're a pile of shit. Leave his father alone. And Joanne, his wife, is one of the sweetest people ever. It's too bad your parents forgot to teach you not to be a dickhead to the elderly. Look, I'm all for making fun of the elderly if they deserve it. I'm pretty positive Easy isn't looking for a financial gain when it comes to his family. The audience, whether it be 1 or 1,000,000, loves his dad and Joanne. Sorry, your family doesn't love you, and you have to take it out on his. Tophus weighed in, writes, so, you don't like funny, eh? Because Zane is funny. He's right about that. I am. He's also very interactive with his audience. He's always stuck to his guns and did his thing, even while the FBHW show was in the process of being castrated. FBHW is not entertaining in the least. Of course, this is just Tophus's opinion. There are a ton of people that find that show to be fantastic. I'm not one of them. Tophus continues. Free beer is a gaslighting piece of shit, and Hot Wings is just boring. The show sucks. Just because EZ did not conform and is on a smaller medium does not mean his show is shit. So be ass bent if you must. Thank you, Tophus. I appreciate that. Amy says my quote of, when they go low, you go lower. You're goddamn right, madam. This one guy writes, LMAO, look at all these Zaniac snowflakes defending EZ in the FBHW sub. Well, there's no mistaking that we do share some audience. And some dickhead did start the whole thing, so what do you expect? Either way, it all makes me proud. This is not a terrible thing. If I get mentioned in any setting, that's okay. Amy here. I was with Chris D., who is one of, I think, a running partner of Amy. I was with Chris at the soccer game over the weekend. Chris runs Michigan Rangers, which is a NPSL soccer team. And Rangers not only incorporates the NPSL team, but youth teams and from all different age groups. You can look up Rangers soccer in West Michigan if you want to, if you want your kid to take advantage and get on board and enjoy the game of soccer. I'm going to talk about the game here because there was some fantastic moments again that I actually have audio of. But I was sitting next to Chris, who for years was playing soccer and then got out of the game because he's too old. Now he just runs long distance. So, he's the guy that runs like a marathon a month or a week or whatever the fuck it is. He's that level of running, which I could never, ever get behind any of that. So lately I've been, when I see somebody running, I get so goddamn jealous over that. It's like, I want to run. I loved running. You know what I love the most? Training to run. All right? I loved training. The races were great, especially when the training was right. And it's like, I'm going to smash the fuck out of this race. I'm going to go and beat the shit out of people that are 20 years younger than me. I can't wait to make that fucking big left turn down Ottawa at the riverbank, which most of it is uphill, and just be grinding it. Oh, get the fuck out of the way, bitch. But that all ended when arthritis started to gnaw on my knees, eating my cartilage like fucking Pac-Man. The pain was too much. I shelved it all. I've been taking nice leisurely strolls and getting fat. So not yesterday, damn it. Jesus. I think it was Friday. No? Yeah, Friday. I went for my walk. I have my little headphones in. Of course, not the fancy kind. What are they? Earbuds. Wired in with my lightning fucking dongle in my phone. Listening to some yacht rock. With my calf-high socks. Grandpa shorts, and a shirt that says Grandpa knows best. And I'm walking along. And I go, I got my running shoes on. My Hokas. Let's see how this feels. So I go about 2 minutes of light jogging, and then I walk, and then I did that again. And this went until I was about 1.5 miles out from home. I turned around, and now I know the spots on this path that I take where I'm precisely 1 mile out. It's this yellow house on Bauer, just before 40th, on the north side of the street. And as I'm walking towards it, I go, you know what? I wonder, how fast can I actually run 1 mile right now? I go, you know what? I don't give a fuck how much it's going to hurt. I'm going to get my fucking ass out there, and I'm running. So the right knee is the one that the arthritis has been chewing on the cartilage. But everything feels fine as I'm walking. There is no pain whatsoever. I am 100 yards from the start of this 1 mile. I go, all right, that's it. Okay, let's put on Killing in the Name of by Rage Against the Machine. And let's go! Let's go! And boom! Picking it up, laying them down. Cadence at about 93, 94. Which is I've always had a good cadence. You always got to be plus 92. No matter how fast you're going, the cadence should always be the same. The only thing that changes is the distance of the steps. That's how you run. Mid-foot strike. Immediate. No, none of that heel-to-toe shit causing stress. Mid-foot strike, right on point. And I'm clicking. I get to the half-mile mark. I come across at 5 minutes, 7 seconds. And I'm like, oh, God. Now, I did ease into it. It was not incredibly winded. And I go, all right, here we go. Back half. We got to negative this thing, which means a faster back half to the front half. So I got a half mile to go. I got to be, I can come in no slower than 10 minutes and 14 seconds. So I start grinding. Come off this hill at the half, slight decline right into the subdivision. And I realize I can probably only get in one word in between breaths if I'm to talk, which means I'm redlining. I'm like, oh, boy. And I've got probably a little bit more than a quarter to go. And I'm like, oh, boy, here it comes. Unhook the trailer, motherfucker. Let's go. Let's go. So if I go any far faster than this, it's gonna fucking blow up the motor. Bring it down just a little bit till we get to that last straightaway, and then boom, hit the gas. I roared in at about 9:45. So that's not bad for your old pal Easy. It's been 1 year, and to negative split the mile. And then the next day, no pain, nothing. Lungs didn't hurt. Legs did not hurt. Felt great. Except knees wanting to explode. Not just my right, my left. Just aching. And so I went into this with I don't give a shit. Fuck it. And then I'm like, I'm going to wait 2-3 days, and then I'm going to try it again. Today is 3 days. Like last night, I went to bed, and my left now is hurting worse than the right. I'm like, you know what? I don't give a shit. Frankly, if me doing this accelerates my need for a new knee, the quicker I get a new knee, which that technology is changing by the week. Improvements to, what do you call it? I don't know if you say orthotic knees. New knees, titanium, platinum, who knows what the fuck they're made out of. Lithium. The quicker I get a new knee, the quicker I'm running with no pain. Now, in a perfect world, I'm like, okay, I nurse this training somehow to be able to have some degree of consistency. So I think I'm just going to go back to let's set a goal for that. Being able to get a few days. Now, if this happens, like run one day, or get a little bit of running in, and then 2-3 days off, and then can't do it after 3 days, well, I'm fucked. But perhaps with the appropriate amount, I once ran the fastest half I ever did. One of the fastest halves I ever did was at Disney. I ran an hour 30, and I did it by running 3 days a week. I would do 2 days worth of track work and then one long run a week. So we're talking maybe 20 to 25 miles a week, which is not much. And so I think I'm going to have to wrap my brain around that. I know you're all like, yeah, shut up. We can't fucking walk around the block, you asshole. Like we give a shit. But I'm telling you, I felt good about this. Who Are These Stephen Kyles was published over the weekend, the audio on Patreon. And tons of feedback that people loved it and cannot believe that this is actually a thing that people have put time into, either making it, Stephen Kyle, or listening to it, the audience. We have a reformed Stephen Kyle fan on this show. That is Jeremy K., who he made that show a regular part of his listening for the longest time. And I firmly believe that people who listen to a show like that are lulled into it. That somehow they almost like gear down their brains to thinking that that's an acceptable thing to listen to. I'm curious, Jeremy, because you're like our experiment. Did you give up on that show well before you joined this show? Because you're like the newest member of my show to reform from Free Beer and Hot Wings / Stephen Kyle. Jeremy says I was 100% lulled into it. That's the absolute perfect way of putting it. He says he stopped listening in like 2020. So when you see, a member of my favorite show is a podcast, let's check it out. And so then you get into it, and you're like the whole time your brain is telling you, hey, this fucking sucks. But you're like, well, it's my guy. It's part of my team that I love. And then the next thing you know, you're like invested into these monotonous, creeping like death stories that just go on and on and on with no real point. How the fuck does that even happen? It's like being brainwashed. Chris K., who I think now goes by I'm Just a Chris. By the way, if you ever want to throw me a curveball on the chat on Twitch, change your username and don't tell me. Writes, their show is like a boring version of NPR, but with less interesting topics. Speaking of Chris D., as you know, I am the PA announcer for the local team's entry into the NPSL. The Michigan Rangers. Okay. Now we fell to Akron 3-2. We were up 1-0. Akron scores 3 goals. We get 1 back, but we fall. I guess there was history between these two teams. I was informed that in the first time they played in Akron, Ohio, the goalie for the Rangers was upset about something, and a player from the Rangers was doing some type of showboating, perhaps after a goal. I'm not 100% sure. But our goalie did not like that. and he threw the fucking ball and rocketed it off the dude's head. And I went, oh, my God. And this is soccer speak for you, because there's like an entire language that I don't know. And Chris says, yeah, he got sent off. Now, I don't know what that fucking means. And so I'm like, he got kicked out? He got sent off. And I'm like, well, is that kicked out? I'm thinking to myself. Or is that like you get your balls cut off or something? No, he got sent off. And I'm like, yeah, right. What does that fucking mean? I don't speak soccer. But yeah, the guy got kicked out of the game for it. And I don't know if that means you play like with no goalie. I think he might have said that. I don't know. During our game the other day, I don't know if it was the same goalie. It might have been a different goalie. But one of their players was going for the ball while our goalie was going to pick up the ball. And their player made contact with our goalie. Now, I guess that's like as bad as like in hockey if you run the goalie. Because on the soccer field, I guess there's no greater terrible thing to do than making contact with the goalie. I think you could strangle a baby on the soccer field, and there would be less repercussions than if you touched the goalie, because everybody went ape shit. And they started like pushing and shoving. I was like, yes, come on. Come on. In fact, Chris, do you know at what minute mark of the video that happened? Because I've got this video here I'm going to share with the folks for the reason you and I talked about. If in the next short amount of time, you can type into the chat the minute mark that the goalie confrontation took place. I was loving that. So you got to understand at these games, and there's a game coming up on Friday that I'd like you to go to. It always starts out fine. And then the fans, I don't know if they get shit-faced or just mad. But the first game, there was one person in particular that was talking shit. But in the game Saturday, there was a lady and a dude talking shit to the opposing team. And they are so close to the field that the players can hear them, and it's really awkward in a great way. So we're up in the press box cracking up at these insults that the fans are throwing at these players. Now, these are not kids. We've got one guy who I refer to as Lil Buddy, who I think is like 18. We actually have two guys named Lil Buddy. Well, they don't know that. They don't know that I call them that. I guess the one guy would stab me if he found out that I referred to him as Lil Buddy or Lil Fella, but they're teeny weeny. They run like the wind, though. Well, anyway, some dude right below me in the box, and I'm in an enclosed area sitting next to Chris, and he's just chirping. And then there's there's a lady who all I can hear is her voice. And she just sounds like, I don't know. I envisioned, if you ever have seen the movie $1 Million Baby, the Clint Eastwood movie with the female boxer, and then she gets paralyzed, and like her family comes to visit her, but they're pieces of shit, and the mom is like a big battle axe. That's what I pictured the woman squawking at the players. And so the game is getting long in the tooth, and there's some gamesmanship because Akron is taking their time as much as they can to eat up more time so that they can win the game. So if the goalie gets the ball, he takes his time kicking it out into the field of play. If a player happens to go down with a quote-unquote injury, he might stay down for a little bit longer. And our fans are sensing that. And they actually start counting. Like the battle axe lady, she's going 1, 2, 3, 4, like counting out loud as the player is laying there on the ground acting like he's hurt. Let's check out some of the action from the game. Chris writes, Leon, like Leon Hendricks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Hey, Leon can count. All right. In this clip, you can hear the heckling plain as day. Here we go. We are the dark colored jerseys. Okay, so you saw that the guy from Akron goes down. Now listen to what the fan says.
Milk it! Come on, milk it!
Yellow card called.
I just said yellow card called.
Lay down longer!
Lay down longer.
Akron free kick.
Come on, milk it more! You're doing great! Good acting job! Tie your shoes while
You
you're
hear that chick cry or counting?
down there! Pull up your socks! There you go!
24. Get him on the side of the field after 25 seconds, my man.
Holy crap. We're just sitting there in the box going, oh, no. And, you know, who are we to deny them that? These are people who, when their kids played soccer, they did the same thing. And they were asked to leave the stadium. Now the people that they're talking to are actually adults. So I guess it's okay. You know, as long as they don't, like, tell them to go fuck themselves or anything like that. But wow. That's stupid because the ref can tack injury time at the end of the match, and that's so true. And these fans should know that. You know how it works. I don't know if maybe you don't know, but in soccer, it's a 90-minute game. And typically the ref pays attention to those types of stoppages and assesses how much time where they weren't playing. And then once the 90-minute mark hits, the ref will look at his watch and add time. Now, you can't see it ticking, but you can kind of get a good idea that you have at least a handful of minutes. And that was the case with 6 minutes added on. All right, it's staff meeting time at the radio station. I will be back in about half an hour for Act 2 of this show. Till then, thank you. And join me in 1.5 hours on Twitch. The staff meeting is now done from the almighty Q100. There's some controversy. Okay. I got an email. Like every Monday I start the show. I start my day. I look at the email and I see what the prizes are that I'm giving away. And it says on there that I'm giving away a pair of tickets for Matchbox 20 at the casino. Okay, that's nice. it doesn't say it on my log of things that I have, like on the show log. So I got the email saying, hey, you're giving away Matchbox 20 tickets. Okay, great. It's not on the log, which has happened before. There have been times when I've been like, hey, you're giving this away, but it's not on the log. Like, oh, this all adds up. So I give it away. Hey, go see Matchbox 20. And then all hell breaks loose. I get like text message, but I didn't see the text message. And then I get a phone call, and it's hey, did you give away Matchbox? Yeah. Was it on the log? No. Well, why'd you give it away? I said, because I got an email saying I'm giving it away. Oh, no, you gotta, if it's on the log. I'm like, okay, sounds good. I get back to my desk, and the email that I got, I get another email from that person saying, yeah, this is the emails I sent you. And it shows the one that says, hey, you're giving away Matchbox 20. And then there's also one that says, no, you're not giving away Matchbox 20. And my name is on it. I should have seen that email. But I swear to on a stack of Bibles, I didn't get it. And so, you ever have something happen where all the evidence shows that you are a fucking moron? That's how I feel. Or that's how I felt. I was like, they think I'm retarded. I'm like, oh, God, this is bad. So I'm like, I see you sent it. I know you sent it, but I did not see that. I didn't get it. I even went so far as to take like a screenshot of my inbox saying, these are the ones I got. So that was fucking weird. And I sent it off, and I don't think I sounded like an asshole. Okay. So I wrote, let's see. I want to make sure that I don't sound like a dick. You know, you don't want to, I don't want to rub these people the wrong way. I obviously suck at this. I can't even do anything with this. This is what my inbox looks like, FYI. I thought perhaps that the first email would also have the second email stacked with it. You know how that is? You get an email, and you go, oh, I got this. And there's another one stacked on it, and you don't even see it. I didn't even see that. So I wrote, but I see nothing. I'm not sure why I didn't see that. Let's see. What else did I write? Nothing inflammatory. I don't, yeah, but here's the problem. I don't know. I just feel like, I'm just one snotty email away. Me letting my guard down and sending something like a snotty email and then getting the shit beat out of me. These are tough people. And they're not going to take my shit. So they might, I think I should fear for my life. Frankly. Maureen says, could it have gone to spam? No, I'm looking. Junk, nothing. Not a bit. So I'm sure that me saying, yeah, I didn't see it, is going to result in a follow-up from the other parties. And I'm a little concerned about that. It's like, look, I don't know what to tell you. I swear to God, I didn't get the email. I wouldn't have, come on now. But I'm starting to think that perhaps I might look like a total dickhead here in this one. What can I do? By the way, some further follow-up on the Reddit thing that said, referred to your old pal EZ just hanging by a thread. I don't know where that comes from. I don't know why people get that notion that, like, I'm hanging by a thread. And to what end? Do you mean, like, mentally? Do you mean professionally? Do you mean financially? Sexually, I would say yes, that's accurate, but I can't. I don't know where that comes from. How people assume that I am doing something that I'm like struggling. What the fuck? What do I have to do? I mean, every new period of time brings yet on some new opportunity that I have. Every time I turn around, there's something new for me to do that makes me even more independent than what I am. Today is the day that I start working Monday through Friday on the almighty Big 101.3, playing the fun hits you know. I mean, holy shit, where does it end? 2 p.m. to 6 p.m. I'm on the radio now, Monday through Friday. This is the first day, the first start of something. So that would be June 10th, 2024. The last time I had a radio job where I was on every day of the week, a full-time radio job, was January 4th, 2019. I can't even keep track of it because that's not true. I just started on Q100 on March 18th every day. It's so packed that I'm forgetting the jobs that I have. Mornings every day of the week on Q100 since March 18th. And now I've added afternoons in a different market, West Michigan, on the Oldies station. Is it the greatest, better than what I used to have? No. But I am right now making the same amount of money that I made in 2016. Okay? It's fucking great. Jobs keep falling out of the sky. I will say that I have to work longer. I have to put in more hours. But there is no one alive that can outwork your old pal EZ. And let's be honest here. I always do this, my fingers in air quotes, work. I'm sitting in a chair, bullshitting into a goddamn camera in my house. I've worn nothing more than sweats and my underwear while quote unquote working for the past 5 years, 5.5 years. Oh boy. I hope I'll survive this knuckle busting work that I'm doing right now. How will I ever be able to recover? This isn't work. This is bullshitting. How the fuck is this even a commodity to people? Trust me, I'm not saying you're making bad choices. I want you to keep choosing your old pal EZ. I'm just thankful that you're buying what I'm selling for this amount of time. So whenever I hear that, he's just hanging on by a thread, I just want to shake him. And it's like, yeah, it pisses me off that you say that because you don't know what the fuck you're talking about. All right? Now, if you were to say something that's actually true, like, oh, yeah, he's a fucking moron who can't jizz anymore. I mean, I can't really argue with you on that. But hanging on by a thread, are you fucking crazy? My God. That's such bullshit. Rebecca says, do you have to go in to work on 101.3? No, I just stay right here. This is the studio that brings you Q100. Oh, by the way, today I was actually live in this studio. Typically for the past 1 month, I have had to sit down here and record my, hey, this is Eric on the radio, Q100, welcome to a Monday. And then because we had a technological breakdown that took place. But that is now solved, and today is my first day back actually live. I was essentially voice tracking mornings on Q100 for the last month, and it sounded a little weird. I didn't like it, but I had to go ahead and get a different setup for the internet, I have a static IP address now and Comcast Business, which makes it zero chance for any type of hiccups like I had in the past month. But the dude came in on Friday, and I even took the day off work from Bosco's. I go, I can't work. Why? Because the Xfinity guy is coming in to install my Comcast Business. And I go, dude, I am so happy to see you. And I explained to him what was up, what I was doing. And so hopefully he's listening. His name is Gus. And I told him that I was going to talk about him on the podcast. I go, Gus? He goes, so what's your podcast about? I go, well, I'm going to talk about you, Gus. And I tell you what, when you have a problem as a customer with Xfinity, you would call a line, and typically, this is what I've noticed in this whole process. When you just call the regular customer service line, you get some guy in another country, and this wasn't a thing. I talked to Dave Grant, my engineer, boots on the ground engineer here in West Michigan. He goes, you cannot get a business account at your home. Why? Because they don't offer it. I said, okay. So I went ahead and I said, I'm going to call anyway. So I called and I said, I need a business account. And some foreign dude says, yeah, you can have that. Long story short, they started offering it because of COVID. So many people working at home, they started offering static lines in business class in a residence. So I'm like, oh, this is fucking great. So the dude comes in and he gets to work. And I'm like, you have no idea. And when he has problems, first of all, when you want business class, you stop dealing with the foreign nation nationalists level 1 tech support. You get a gringo. So thank God. And not that the foreigners cannot help me, but it's sometimes a difficult thing to understand, like the language barrier. The accent is tough. And I'm like, God damn it. And their names are always like Steve and Frank. They give them American sounding names, but they're not. Once I got past that level and got to business class, they were able to help me so much more quickly. And that dude showed up and he fucking kicked so much ass. It was great. And the next thing you know, I'm totally in business. And then the next on the air today, Monday, Q100 sounded 1 million times better. Xfinity guy is coming between the hours of 8 a.m. and 8 p.m. Keep calendar clear. Actually, 5 p.m. to 8 p.m. And so I went and got my hair cut. And then I'm driving back, and I had one more stop to make. And I said to Diane, I go, you know what? I'm counting on them being there later. You know how it is. But knowing my luck, he'll be there right about now. So let's start heading for home. Okay? So we're about half a mile away from my house, and the phone rings. And it's Gus. Yeah, I'm here. I go, that's great. So am I. I will be there by the time you can count to 100, Gus. I'm pulling in right now. Oh, thank God I decided to listen to that voice in my head, my intuition, talking to me. Chris D, says level 1 is just dumb stuff like unplug it, hit it, shut it off. You're right. I love the, okay, Erica, because I went off the air because of this and this. Can you go ahead and make sure the coaxial cable is tight? Yeah, no, I didn't. It was. So I'd go, oh, yeah, I just unhooked it. And you put it back in tightly. Did you use a 9mm socket to make sure it was tight? Yes. Oh, yeah. I got one right by it. Yeah, it's tight. Okay, now you shall unplug the modem. And you keep it unplugged, you count to 60 seconds, and then you plug it back in. Let me know the light sequence on the modem. Fucking dude, we did all this. But I'm just excited that it's all behind us. Thank God. Holy shit. Okay. I saw this on X. It's a video released by some police force at a Bank of America in Southwest Florida. Now, this happened in February, but they're just making this video available now. So the bad guy is behind the counter at Bank of America. Video image is looking down from the ceiling. You can see bad guy. His face is blurred out. So are the two hostages that bad guy is taken hostage. Can barely see on one side of the screen. Let me just share it with you. See, you can at least see what I'm seeing here. But on the left side of the screen over here, the SWAT team is there, and there's a sniper who wants to shoot the bad guy, which we can't see in the still image right now. Here's a lady and the guy, they're running the bank, normal day. But the bad guy comes in there, he's got him at like gunpoint or knife point or some shit. The sniper realizes he has a shot, but he has to shoot through this monitor. So he's doing the old Captain Phillips thing. He's going to fire the round. The shot's going to go through here, through the monitor, and hit the bad guy in the forehead. And he's now dead. And these two people can go finish the day working at Bank of America. This is outstanding. So everybody is safe and sound. There's no blood or gore in this. There might be you might see a little chunk on the wall. But let's roll it and you'll be able to pick up what's going on.
Limited exposure. The sniper took a planned and deliberate shot through a computer monitor.
Here's the good guys here. They're all lined up. This is the monitor they shot through.
Striking the suspect in the center of the forehead, killing him instantly. Firing through barriers is it.
Okay. See right here on the monitor? That's when the bullet enters the back of the monitor and comes out the front of it. It's gone through the guy's head, and this is the hole in the wall after it goes through his brain, I think. Maybe not. I think that might be the light switch. Don't quote me.
In the center of the forehead, killing him instantly.
Okay. Up here. This is where it goes into the wall, I think. Something does. Because it just appears out of nowhere.
Firing through barriers is it. Trained and routinely practiced skill by the Lee County Sheriff's Special Operations Unit snipers.
Okay, now in this shot, this is from the point of view of the good guys. Here's the good guy here. And you see what they're doing? They're setting this stable shooting area there's three guys working. One, this guy's got his arm resting on the other guy, and then this opening is where the gun goes in so that it's a nice stable place.
The .308 caliber bullet used is specifically selected due to its known ballistic reliability traveling through intermediate barriers. Immediately after the suspect was shot, distraction devices known as flashbangs were set off as a special operations unit moved in to remove the hostages and confirm that the suspect was no longer a threat.
But I couldn't be more proud of the men
How great is that?
and women of law enforcement today,
Law enforcement.
my family members today, the SWAT team today. How you train is how you perform. And this is exactly what we train for. We train for worst case scenario. We train for hostage negotiations and what that means.
That shot, though, to be that assured that if you're shooting into the monitor and then for it to go into the guy's brain, I don't know if I'd be, you really got to be great at what you do. And I can only imagine the level of intense training to make them that assured that, hey, this is going to work. We're going to save the day right here.
Going from worst case to best scenario. This is a very unfortunate incident, but I will tell you, the two hostages being safe was our top priority.
That is fucking sweet. If only that could happen to the guy in the next story that I have for you. Oh, man. Oh, boy. This is something. This one comes to us from a community in Indiana known as Canby. Husband and wife. You got husband, wife. You got kids. Every normal household. This setup that they have. And one day, Mrs. Wife thinks, you know what? I'm not feeling very good. My husband's been acting weird. And she starts to think that something's going on. Okay? And so she picks up her husband's phone thinking about, hey man, maybe I'm going to find some sexting. I just have a feeling that he's been messing around. Well, she did find evidence that he's been messing around, but it was far worse because on the guy's phone were images of him in molesting children. She can't believe it. He's asleep on the couch 15 feet away. She wanders to a part of the house where she can't be heard. She calls the cops. Okay, now this is fantastic. The first step, call the cops and then she meets the cops in front of the house. She's completely ruined. You know, this has got to be the most traumatic thing that's ever happened to her in her life. And she fills them in the same way I'm filling you in. And she says, yeah, my husband in there, Paul, he's having sex with kids. Look. And the cop's like, oh, Jesus Christ. Well, let's go get him. And sure enough, the cops go in there. The cops wake him up. They go, hey, excuse me, Paul Suits. Yeah, what's going on? Hey, look, we've got these images on your phone of you having sex with kids. Is this you? Yes. Okay, you're under arrest. God damn it. This actually happened some time ago, but he was just sentenced. Wow. 50 years. Paul Suits gets 50 years for molesting a child after the ex-wife found videos him molesting a child on his phone. Can you imagine? Okay, let's put ourselves into the shoes, into the brain of Mrs. Suits. It would be completely acceptable if she just went to him and said, hey, what the fuck? And not called the cops. Well, it wouldn't be acceptable for her to not call the cops. But the fact that she didn't even give him an opportunity to try to talk his way out of it immediately got the police involved. That's like the opposite of what that guy in the Penn State, Mike McQueary, when he the whole Jerry Sandusky thing and Paterno. You know, everybody said, why didn't you call the cops? Oh, she didn't do that. She called the cops immediately. And then if you're the cops, knowing that you're going to go break the news to the kid diddler, and so once they arrested him, he hasn't seen a day since. He was just sentenced. And then if you're him, you know, some of these maniacs, they breathe a sigh of relief. They're like, oh, thank God you caught me. In that, he was charged with 22 counts related to child molesting, including several level 1 felonies, the most serious criminal charge in Indiana outside of murder. I think, listen to this. This is incredible. The prosecutor was talking about the sentence. Today, Mr. Suits accepted the state's plea offer because he pled of 50 years at the Indiana Department of Corrections, which gives his age, which given his age is effectively a life sentence because he's 42. In 2008, she said in her statement, again, this is the prosecutor, the U.S. Supreme Court held the death penalty to be cruel and unusual for child rapists. And pause right there. I didn't know that was at one point a death penalty. That the U.S. Supreme Court ruled against that and said that if you're a child rapist, you cannot be put to death. And God damn it, I wish that would come around again so that it could be. Why not? Oh, my God. And I wish it was a type, because we have, we live in a world, in the judicial world of the U.S. of appeals and all that shit. And anybody who is ever sent to death is never anything quick. It takes years. It's at these moments that I wish we were like, Iraq, where once you're found to be this person, they take you out and hang you right there in front of everybody. Yes, absolutely, we should do that. We don't do that in America. We're civilized. No, that's something you do because you're civilized. That keeps it civilized. Prosecutor says, Supreme Court said it was cruel and unusual. While this may be the law of the land, and as prosecutors, we are duty bound to follow it, we may also respectfully disagree. So that's that prosecutor, Lauren Delp, her saying, I wish we could have killed this fucker. The 50-year sentence is the maximum prison term allowed for level 1 felony in Indiana. Yeah, I don't understand why we had to decide to go a little easier on the child rapers. I mean, because of what he did to the kid. With a little luck, I hate to say it, but hopefully the kid is so young that the kid just doesn't remember it, ever. That can happen. But my God, probably not. Holy shit. What a fucking disaster. That makes me so goddamn frustrated that I don't even have any jokes. I just want to kill that son of a bitch. Or bitch. Bish. What? Chris K., who threw me for a loop by changing his name, says, with this conservative court, that's possible if it were to be brought back up for review. Maureen adds, I hope he likes getting molested in prison. Yeah, let's hope. Let us hope. Okay. Speaking of the Supreme Court, we are waiting on them to decide whether or not camping is legal or illegal on the street. And what I mean by this is the homeless thing. I believe it was in Boise, Idaho, where the state Supreme Court there said that it's okay you can't bust somebody because they're homeless camping on the street. So this is several states in the union where you can go outside to get your newspaper, and the sidewalk is littered with homeless people that have set up camps and tents, and you can't do a goddamn thing about it. And I don't have an answer. Well, no, I do have an answer. I think that for every immigrant that we bring into the U.S., we have to remove every immigrant that wants to come into the U.S. and work and support their families. We remove a drug-infested, lazy fucking idiot out of the country. Okay? As much as everybody wants to believe that homeless people are in need of our help, you got to understand, a great majority of the homeless people have hurt themselves by living in a particular way that has made them homeless in the first place. Typically addiction and just not wanting to work. So fuck it. I say anybody that we can do the immigrant for homeless program. We pluck one when we bring one in and we actually send them to the middle of Mexico and we'll send them to Mexico. Okay? I think that's a fair trade. If we're going to bring your hardworking Mexicans into our country, by all means, come here because I love you. But let's get rid of these motherfuckers who are destroying everything for people who have worked very hard to live a certain way. I find this to be bullshit. And I hope the Supreme Court rules in favor of communities to be able to enforce laws to keep them from doing what they're doing. Let's take a look at a story on CBS News. This is long, and I've been meaning to get to this for some time, but I find it very interesting. Let's get to all the background behind this right now.
Far-reaching implications for the unhoused across America.
Let me start that over
John
again.
Blackstone
I didn't have the volume up.
Any day now, the Supreme Court is expected to rule on a case that could have far-reaching implications for the unhoused across America.
That's homeless.
John Blackstone reports on what's at stake.
It's bad when you can't say homeless. Why is that so bad? Oh, no, we call them unhoused now. Okay, don't create the word to be offensive. Don't go out of your way to say, oh, well, that's a terrible word. And then just because some bigwig person decided to say, oh, yeah, that's offensive, I'm adding a different word to the nomenclature. God damn it, I hate that.
With foothills rising above, Boise, Idaho is a place of beauty. But it's the city's less scenic quarters, dead ends and back alleys, that were Robert Martin's home on and off for 15 years.
Just sitting here about like so, and had a blanket wrapped up, had it laying down underneath me as a little bit of cushioning between me and the ground, and just trying to catch a few winks.
On nights when Boise's homeless shelters were full, Martin got sleep wherever he could.
There were times I've slept in garage stairwells on cement, slept in rock, up under overpasses on the rocks and dirt.
But in Boise, sleeping or camping on public property was against the law. Martin was one of many ticketed and fined for sleeping in public.
And Robert's case I thought it was a vivid portrayal of the situation that homeless people find themselves in.
A lawyer for a homeless dude.
Howard Beladoff of Idaho Legal Aid Services saw a constitutional issue in Boise's camping ordinance and made a federal case out of it.
Here's a guy, he has no place to sleep. He's been walking around all night because he's been warned you can't, quote unquote, camp, which just means you can't have a blanket around you.
In 2000.
And I stop right there. Okay, if we're going to go down this road, I think it's always fair to ask why. What's going on? Can you give me the background? Can you give us that? Can we get the background of why you're homeless? And if not, why not?
2009, in federal court, Beladoff filed a lawsuit that came to be known as Martin versus Boise, arguing that the city of Boise had violated the Eighth Amendment of the Constitution's ban on cruel and unusual punishment by leaving those without homes nowhere to legally sleep.
Okay. If someone's so fucked up that they live on the street and they break the law, throw them in jail. Who gives a shit? They're probably going to be happy in there with a place to stay, sleep. The bar is low, food to eat, friends to meet, and cigarettes to smoke. Something tells me there's not a lot going on. And then when you maybe turn it around while you're in prison, okay, start over then. But get off the fucking street.
It's cruel and unusual in the true sense of the word, because every single one of us, rich, poor, old, young, male, female, they need to sleep.
9 years later, the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals, based in San Francisco, agreed with Beladoff, writing, it considered whether the Eighth Amendment's prohibition on cruel and unusual punishment bars a city from prosecuting people criminally for sleeping outside on public property, concluding it does.
And the fact that the courts have crippled our ability to do our jobs to help get people into shelter is criminal.
San Francisco's Mayor London Breed blames Martin versus Boise for worsening the city's crisis.
Okay, so the mayor is like, all right, well, that means people can do whatever the fuck they want with no ramifications, and they will. And that has the people who actually live in these cities saying, what the fuck are we supposed to do? Move out? Yes, that's all you can do, which is why they've turned to the Supreme Court to hopefully end this fucking nightmare.
A court order bars San
Yeah, I'd want these fucking losers around my house. Fuck that.
Francisco from clearing sidewalk encampments.
Look at this
unless it can
shit.
guarantee a place to sleep for everyone it moves. A challenge in this.
When Diane and I went to Venice a couple years ago to visit Jeffrey, this is what Venice is like. I mean, every street is just full. You have there's a median in between. These are the city streets. 2 lanes going one way, median. 2 lanes going the other way. Median is just full of this. Tent after for miles. People shitting in the street.
A city with more than 8,000 homeless, but fewer than 4,000 shelter beds. Nationally, there is a lack of shelter beds. By one estimate, about 188,000 more people need shelter than there are beds available. But the Martin versus Boise decision applies only to the 9 western states under Ninth Circuit jurisdiction. In the rest of the country, 14 states have laws making it a crime to camp in public places, and 27 states have laws against vagrancy and loitering that can be used to move along those sleeping in public.
So basically, there's things in place to keep that from happening in all of the states except for 9 of them, the ones out west. And people hate it. They're moving out.
Those kind of laws have effectively been outlawed in Ninth Circuit states.
What the Ninth Circuit has said is that a person can't be punished for being homeless if there aren't adequate shelter beds or places for them to go.
Which is bullshit.
Erwin Chemerinsky is a leading constitutional scholar and dean of the law school at UC Berkeley. The Eighth Amendment prohibition on cruel and unusual punishment, we think...
Well, the U.S. has come a long way. During World War II, if you were an Asian, they'd round you up and put you in a camp and lock you away. Okay? Nowadays, you can be homeless, on drugs, and a goddamn disaster, and you can live wherever the fuck you want, and nobody can say a word.
Think of it as being applied to death penalty cases, for example. How can it be applied to homelessness?
In 1962, the United States Supreme Court said it's cruel and unusual punishment to punish somebody for a status. In that case, they said you can't punish somebody for being a drug addict. You can punish them for taking drugs, or possessing drugs, but not for the status of being addicted.
Okay, I agree with that. That sounds crazy to me. But you can be punished for sleeping on the street. At least you should be, in my opinion.
Likewise, the Federal Court of Appeals here has said you can't punish somebody for the status of being unhoused.
Needing more affordable housing.
Since the unhoused can't be denied a place to sleep, Mayor Kate Collins in San Rafael, California, is almost powerless to move the person living in a tent beside City Hall.
Look at this. The guy has got a tent and a toilet right next to City Hall, and she can't do shit.
Shelters here are usually full, which means this suburban...
Look at this guy's playing on his phone while he's got like a fucking mattress pad on the brick, got his bike.
City of 60,000 can legally do little about
Look at this encampment. This guy's gotten pallets. He's built his own fucking wall, like Game of Thrones. How'd you like to live by these pieces of shit?
On its streets.
Every time we passed an ordinance, we were sued, either immediately or within the time frame that could happen.
Wow.
It must be frustrating to try to say to residents here, sorry, we can't move the people who are camped at the end of your street because the court has told us we can't.
It is frustrating. People don't want to hear that San Rafael does.
Okay, if I'm the cop who, if the Supreme Court says yes, okay, we agree with cities, homeless people can no longer do this. I want to be the cops that are given the order, hey, go in and clean them up. So you just pull up with a couple dump trucks and just say, get your shit in there. We don't give a fuck. Get your shit in the dumpster and get the fuck out of here.
Doesn't have the independent ability to work with our unhoused community. So when we say it's because of the federal law, it takes people a moment to say, really?
While many cities complain about Martin versus Boise, Grants Pass, Oregon is doing something. The city appealed to the Supreme Court. When the case was argued in April, advocates for the unhoused demonstrated outside the court, while inside, attorney Theane Evangelos, representing Grants Pass, urged the justices to overturn Martin versus Boise.
It would be a disaster if Martin were to remain on the books in any form.
How did Grants Pass, Oregon, population, about 40,000, become central to this case before the Supreme Court?
It was sued by a group of plaintiffs who claimed that it would be cruel
losers
and unusual punishment for Grants Pass to enforce its local camping ordinances.
The Supreme Court decision expected this month could impact homeless policy across the country.
All of us living here within the Ninth Circuit have seen the effects firsthand of these decisions. And that's why if the Supreme Court were to agree with the Ninth Circuit, those conditions would spread to the rest of the country. And that would be the opposite of solving this problem.
On the other hand, I think there's such a compelling argument on behalf of what the Ninth Circuit said, that you can't make something a crime if there's no alternative.
What's on the line in the Supreme Court in this?
For homeless people, the question is, are they going to face...
By the way, this guy might be fucked up. I think he might be like, he might have like Bernsteinitis or something. His eyes are a little waggly.
...criminal punishment because they don't have else to live. For cities, the question is be, what can cities do lawfully to deal with their unhoused population? And for the Constitution, the question is, what's this going to mean for the Eighth Amendment?
Robert Martin no longer lives on the streets, but his thoughts remain with those who still search for places to sleep.
Being homeless should never equate to an unlawful act.
No, I think it should. I think it's great that it's equated to a unlawful act. You most likely put yourself in a horrible situation because of the choices you made. And as a result of that, you learn when bad things happen to you. That's how learning takes place. Oh my God, I touched the stove. It's hot. I won't do that again. If you make it pleasant for them or make it so that they don't have to lift a finger, how in the fuck do you expect any of these people to turn it around?
Being homeless is an unforeseen and an unfortunate circumstance.
That's not true at all. It can absolutely be foreseen. If you live a horrible life with terrible decisions being made and bad habits all the way around, it's pretty predictable that a person is going to become homeless.
For Howard Bell.
So don't give me your bullshit about, oh, I didn't have anything to do with it. It just happened. Notice how they don't tell us how this fucking idiot became homeless in the first place.
Beladoff, the attorney who started it all, the case is not only about the rights of the homeless, it's also about their humanity.
They feel so powerless because nobody listens and nobody cares.
No.
The first time they
I care about people who try. Fuck you.
feel like they're a person.
Oh. You know what? You're a perfect example of a bleeding heart. Fuck you.
And they're recognized.
Yeah, fuck that shit. If I go on a trip somewhere, like let's say I go to Maine, and I got 50 homeless people around my fucking campsite, I'm gonna be pissed. Fuck that. No way. If you want to go ahead and live your life like that, fine, do it. But if you fucking fuck with people's rights who haven't lived a shitty life like you, fuck off. No. Comments. Joe writes, many homeless are young LGBTQ kicked out of family. I don't know what to tell you. That still doesn't mean that anybody has the right to go out and live in someone's neighborhood. Suspicious maximum. Patrick writes, a lot of these people are mentally ill. They need to reopen sanatoriums. You mean like the Zane asylum? They did that in Kalamazoo last year. Loaded all their shit in a dumpster and kicked everybody out of the park. Good. Well, that's my 2 cents on it. I hope to God. I know it sounds terrible, but Jesus Christ, what do you want? Chris says, does that make them unable to get their shit together? I have no idea. And I don't care. Okay? I don't want fucking people from God knows where doing God knows what in neighborhoods and communities where once there was kids playing in the street. Fuck that. No way, no how. You know, if the Supreme Court rules on this, this could become the law of the land throughout the country. Okay? Not just the Ninth Circuit. So if you think, oh, well, it's not going to happen here. I don't know if that's true. I don't know if that's true. All right. It seems like a lot of the time when I do this show, I'm finding myself getting so wound up in the things that I'm talking about. You know where I'm going with this, don't you? I have to talk about the amazing sponsors that make this show happen. And never, ever has it been more important than right now for you to not bounce ahead when I am talking about the amazing sponsors that make this show happen. Now, I have many irons in the fire, but probably the biggest iron are the local sponsors and, well, national sponsors that make this show go. And I'm going to talk about them right here, and you're going to enjoy it. Out of all the things to talk about, could be homeless people shitting on your front lawn, could be loud, angry soccer fans, could be about the Kentrails bike asshole, could be the asshole of the day. Just as interesting as talking about these amazing sponsors that help make the EZ Show podcast go. Today there are 8 of them. 8 that I need to talk about. If you ever want to talk about a sponsor on your own, I want you to open up your phone and talk about them and send the audio to me. You, too, can be made famous on the Eric Zane Show podcast for your experience with working with one of my amazing partners in broadcasting here on the Eric Zane Show podcast. Like, for example, if you go over to Irvine's Auto Repair, Grand Rapids Hybrid and EV, and have a wonderful experience like I know you will, tell me about it so I can play your words on this podcast. This is something new that I'm experimenting with. It's the Eric Zane Show podcast listener sponsor endorsement team. When you have that wonderful interaction with somebody from, let's say, Irvine's, tell that story to me, and I'll play it right here. You can find them at ervines.com. That's ervines.com, a trusted place to get your automobile repaired, whether it's a combustion engine, EV, or hybrid. ervines.com in Grand Rapids, Michigan. Also in Grand Rapids, Joe Martinez from A&E Heating and Cooling, who wants to join forces with Jennison Pool and Spa Depot, and I'm trying to make that happen. Joe wants to install the gas lines on these heated pool installs. And I'm like, that's a great fucking idea. Holy shit. Call Joe when you need your AC or furnace looked at. If you have any problems that crop up during the cooling months, Joe can help you. 616-516-8579. Keep them in mind. You can get the AC tuned up anytime you want. That is preventative maintenance. And on a hot summer day when you got friends coming over, you don't want the AC crapping out. 616-516-8579. Thank you, Joe. If you need a mortgage, consider the Mario Flores Lakeshore team of Van Dyke Mortgage. From anywhere in the U.S., call 231-332-6505. Gray skies are clearing up. Get into your mortgage today. From anywhere in the U.S., 231-332-6505. Maybe you'd like a little bit of cash out of your home that you've owned for a while to pay off, I don't know, a new roof or something. You can do that by getting a refi or get a little line of credit out of your home. What do they call that again? There's a term for that. Home equity loan. 231-332-6505. Rick over at TC Paintball is awesome. TC Paintball, gr.com is their website. You want to book an event for fun? TC Paintball. There's only one place in West Michigan to call, and that is TC Paintball. Get the group together and book an event today. Bachelor party, workplace team building, neighborhood kids. You can bring in the young kids and use the low-impact machinery. Those don't hurt. Thank you, TC Paintball. They're going to try to get racing in this weekend at Berlin Raceway. Actually, hold that thought. Wednesday at Berlin, you've got the Money in the Bank event. Big cash on the line at Berlin Raceway coming up on Wednesday. That is June 12th, Money in the Bank at Berlin. And then on Saturday, June 15th, is the typical Saturday night of racing at Berlin Raceway. Get your tickets at berlinraceway.com. And they are cheaper when you buy them online. So get after it. As I mentioned earlier, Jennison Pool and Spa Depot. That is a brick and mortar pool and spa supply and work facility. So if you want a new pool, they can do that. Hot tub, they got them on display there. They're on Chicago Drive in Jennison on the south side of the street. Bright blue awning in front. You can't miss them. You'll be able to get there easily on the eastbound lanes. Otherwise, you'll have to do the old turnaround. All the supplies you need, whether it's chlorine, bromine, testing supplies, anything, equipment, 616-457-0500. That's 616-457-0500. Thank you to King's Room Barbershop. I was there on Friday. Thank you to Taylor for cutting my hair so fantastically at the Wyoming location at 821 36th Street next to the costume room. Kingsroom.net is their website. They're in Caledonia. They're on Northland Drive, and wait a minute, I'm getting that all wrong. They're on Northland Drive, and you can also go to the location in Caledonia and the one in Wyoming. Thank you to King's Room Barbershop, online at kingsroom.net. Oh my God. Hey, be thinking about the asshole of the day, because I only have one more sponsor left to tell you about, and that is Frank Fuss from My Policy Shop Insurance. Some of you in the audience have young families. And how often have you seen about the untimely passing of someone? And then shortly thereafter, you'll see the GoFundMe. Nothing against that. Most people don't get life insurance. Well, I'm here to tell you that as a strong proponent of life insurance, since I was I believe 19 years old when I bought a life insurance policy. You must always have a life insurance policy, even if you live alone. The few bucks that you spend, like if you're a young person, you buy a 20 or 30-year policy, you don't pay that much money. You're probably going to outlive it. But for those 30 years, you know you are blessed with the peace of mind of knowing that if anything happens to you, your beneficiary will have a large check delivered to them in their sadness and mourning of losing you. Now, take that a step further. You're married. You have children. You would want nothing more than your wife to be able to not have to worry about money. That's why you need life insurance. At the very least, to bury you. Okay? Reach out to Frank Fuss today. Frank likes the way I give the no-nonsense approach when I say, how about you stop fucking around and insure your life? It's so important. All right? If you can blow a couple trips to Applebee's and buy chewing tobacco and cigarettes or vapes, you can afford life insurance. How about quit all that shit and it helps you twofold. Reach out to Frank today at My Policy Shop Insurance by going to the website buyinsurancehere.com. That's buyinsurancehere.com today. Mention me. Let me ask you this. When it comes to me doing the show, and I'm sure I'll get a mixed bag of answers here. As an audience member, I'm assuming you listen to all the ads. Would you want the show to start with all of the ads? Would you like the show to finish with all of the ads? Would you like the ads sprinkled in here and there throughout the show? I'd like to take the pulse of the audience. I'll tell you this. For me, it works best to not start the show first thing out of my mouth talking about the sponsors. And the reason why that is because I think it's important to, boom, I'm shot out of here like a fucking cannon. Let's be funny or interesting or compelling right out of the gate. If I had to choose for me, I would sprinkle in throughout the show. Does it always work out that way? No! Because I get on a roll. Especially Mondays are tough for me because I do Act 1, Act 2. I'd like to say that in this informal poll, if it's my vote and your vote, that's not a tie. So if 75 people say end of the show, and I say sprinkled in throughout 1, so it's 1 to 75, I win. Bob says pre-recorded ads playing on loop when you go potty. Blech. Why? I'll tell you why. That is a disservice to people who spend money to me. They don't pay for pre-recorded EZ. They want me spouting off top of mind. They want legit. These people pay for this. I want my sponsors to have the best of me. I don't want them getting some watered down pre-recorded shit. Bullshit. Can you imagine how insulting that would be to people who spend money on this product? It's a good point there. Joe Martinez writes, no, I win. I'm the sponsor. You know what? You're right. Makes the ending not so fun because we all know it's done. So some may tune out. I doubt that. Sprinkling ads in is more fair to your businesses. That's true. That needs to happen like it used to. You're right. And that's what I think I'll stick with. Joe Pellerito writes, this bathroom break brought to you by Godwin Plumbing. What? No! Joe Martinez writes, what did you say? Can you repeat that so everyone can hear it loudly? I'm sure it was something glowing about you. No, you get it the first time. Today's asshole of the day is brought to you by TC Paintball. Who is our asshole of the day? Early on, we talked about the Kent Trails bike asshole. We talked about the person attacking my father on Reddit. We talked about who are these Steve and Kyle's, episode 1 being a huge success. EZ doing public address at the Michigan Rangers game, including some great hecklers in that. Today's asshole of the day. You know, it's special when the person that I'm putting on there has their own acronym. KTBA, Kent Trails Bike Asshole, is still top of mind and still your asshole of the day for this, the 10th of June. This is Push Up Paul's birthday, by the way, my brother. Happy birthday, Paul. I think he's 64 years old. Holy moly. I got a brother who's 66, 64, 58, and then me. I think I was an oopsie. Folks, you have been a wonderful audience, as always. Oops.
Moneyline Monday.
No, not Moneyline Monday. Thank you for being part of it. But that's my time. I'll talk to you down the road. Thank you so much, folks. Till next time. Bye-bye.